YouTube channel. This is gonna be my first YouTube series. Welcome. I'm from the Bronx, so this background is a liar. Anyways, I do this on Instagram, so follow me at Shady Churros. I actually tell you the news before it happens. We have great lives there. Plus, I get to smoke on live. Anyways, back to the fun part. So this series is called Following the Moon. This is how I learned astrology. Rather than reading books and things online, I follow the moon, the transit over my different planets, different house cusps, and I learned and how they feel, how they materialized in our matrix world. And I realized we're all a bunch of Sims characters. Anyways, so now that I've realized that I've cracked my Sims character, I'm going to help you crack yours. So we're going to learn how to follow the moon. And we're going to start off with this first episode of the moon in your first house. Okay, so let's begin. So first you want to go to AstroSeek. This is my handy dandy. I've been using them for a while now. So go ahead and make yourself an account with AstroSeek so it can be faster. I already did. So if you go to free horoscope online birth chart, you're going to go in here. I want you to get to know this channel, this website. Thank you. So put your birth chart, the time you were born. If you don't know your time of birth, I also teach people how to do that. So tune in. I'll show you how to do that. But I also want you to know about extended settings. So extended settings will actually describe to me the house system that we're using. So I'm going to show you how to use house cusps. I'm going to show you how to use placidus, whole signs, whatever. I also want you to come up in here so we can learn these little aspects, why they're important. So for instance, I'm going to ask you to add aspects to your fortune. Fortune is an opportunity that you can gain material things on this dimension, okay? This playing field vertex is a turning point. It kind of acts like Pluto. So there's always a kind of a turning point, whatever house it sits in. It gives like a kind of magnetic, transformative energy. There's also an anti-vertex. We'll talk about that another time. Then you're going to you went ahead and put it on there. Chiron acts like Virgo energy. It's a healing, being able to see the healing in others, whatever. We'll talk about Chiron in another episode if you want more details. Chiron aspects are for people that are healers, gurus, doctors, people that like to help others, right? Service others. Then we have Lilith. Lilith is a driven, can't really be told what to do attitude. Men and women have it. It could be addictive energy. It's good to have it because Lilith also can help you if you're heavily ruled or aspect by Lilith, okay? So then we're going to do the lunar nodes. The lunar nodes is important to everyone because it's destiny. Destiny according to what's going on yearly. The lunar nodes actually help also materialize the material world in a much more grand schemes of things. Like buying things, getting pregnant. We're going to talk about that on another episode if you would like that. This series strictly for following the moon. Then we're going to do ahead and let's get Siri out of here. Sorry. Then we're going to do ascendant and midhaven. So the ascendant is our body or your physical body. So how you look, yourself, your personality. Then the MC is the highest point of your chart. It's God's plan. It's better than your plan. Anyways, then you want to go ahead and calculate, right? So I want you to first realize this is the placidus chart. So if you notice, I got my time of birth. I have, it's not showing me any degrees. As you can see, we don't see any degrees, but I want you to get to know this. We got a birth chart, custom graphic, shape, the aspects. We're going to use these things, so get to know them. Then you have a legend over here. As you can see, we have a legend. You also get to know them. They tell you the planets, the symbol of the planet. We got the sun, right? The degree that is in. So this is why it's important to know your placidus, because your placidus is going to show you what main houses play big roles in your life. So for instance, we'll talk about that in another episode. If you want me to break down whole signs, placidus, we could do that as well. Leave it in the comments. I got you. Anyways, so this is the placidus chart. It shows me the degrees. I want you to get used to using whole signs when we're doing these transits, because there is much easier and is much faster to retain. I'm going to show you how to do it with Placidus in another episode when you become a little bit more wiser. So if you follow the series, you'll be able to follow the moon and learn with me how it feels, and we're going to see it materialize in our real life, okay? So we're going to do whole signs just for now, so just get used to that. All right, so it's going to look like something like this. We're going to wait till it loads, okay? So see, now we have degrees. Every house is even, correct? So first thing that I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and click the transit chart. Transit means the planets move. So this is a screenshot of the planets where they were the time you were born, down to the degrees, which are important, right? And then now the planets moving is a transit chart that is going to show me what is the momentum of today's planet showing you, applying to you, what energy is giving to you. So you're going to go ahead and click transit charts. Okay, so you're going to get something like this. Oh, Siri, go away. Okay. So we're going to get something like this, right, where we're going to see two sides. I want you to get used to these two tabs. We have custom graphics, right, show you the degrees. You see how all these little orange planets, they're actually the transiting moving planets currently to the date. So if you notice, we got June 2nd, 2022, 1941. I have it all different degrees. The sun is at Gemini, 12 degrees. Okay, so then I want you to see it this way, because this way it tells you the house cusp of the exact hour. So every hour down to the minutes gives you a layout, a specific chart. So for instance, right now, the ascendant hour is in Sagittarius. Let's you notice, look, it's at 5 degrees Sagittarius, which is right over my north node. And I'm over here showing you my secrets and my goodies. Anyways, but that's funny. Let's go into details about why we're following the moon. So the first house is the self. So as you can see, look, let's click our custom graphics, right? The moon is in Cancer. You see that big fat red line right across? Down to the hour of the day, which is at 7:41 New York time, I have the moon at 20 degrees Cancer. 20 degrees is a Scorpio degree. If you tune in, you probably learn all the degrees. Scorpio rules transformation. Scorpio activates the Scorpio house in your chart. So for instance, the Scorpio house in my chart is the 5th house of performance. So the moon in Cancer is a luminary highlighting the 5th house right now energy with that degree, right? But is in my first house of the self, the body, which is why I'm recording myself. Okay, so now another thing that I want you to learn, again, we're going to keep going through this series, we're going to keep learning. The moon transits every 2 days. The moon represents our mother, our emotions, what the environment feels like, what's the women doing, right? The moon is our mother. If you notice, your mother is always running around going crazy. She's in everybody's business. If you have a good mom, you know. Right? So if you have a good mom, she's going to be all over the place. She's going to be running around doing this, busy on everyone. So that's funny that the moon, she has to travel and see every 12 house in 1 month. The sun represents our father. He travels in one sign for the entire month. So for instance, we're in Gemini season. The sun will be in Gemini for the entire month of June, all the way till the June 19th. So, and it's going to unravel Gemini things. So for instance, right, we're going to do another episode on the sun. Let's just talk about the first house. So the first house, another thing that I want you to notice, there is a tab up here that is called the moon phase. So if you notice, you go there, the moon is going to tell you what June 2nd, what kind of phase is in a waxing crescent, which means it just left the new moon and is slowly, so the new moon means it's a black moon, which means when it's black, flowers grow in the dark, right? Everything grows in darkness, in the abyss. So the new moon represents a growth, a new beginning. As you can see, waxing crescent is the initiation, or is the momentum of that new beginning. So right now we're in Cancer moon sign at a 20 degrees of Scorpio. So what is the Cancer? So Cancer for everyone is going to be different in your chart. So if you pull up your chart, your Cancer might be in the 6th house, you're in Aquarius. Might be in the 8th house, you're in a Sagittarius rising. Might be in your 10th house, you're a Libra rising. So the houses represent more details about that energy. So what is the energy first? So we got Cancer. So Cancer is your feeling of safety. So I love astrology because it kind of gives you a breakdown. And if you follow it enough, you're going to start seeing it correlating. So your feeling of safety of now is related with your home. So like today I went to the gym. I worked on my body because the first house rules the body. And I was making sure I did safe. I have a little problem in my knee because I have Saturn in Aquarius. But I was making sure that I had less weights. Usually I go hard in the gym, but when I was doing these squats, I said, you know what, I'm going to be softer on myself. I'm going to self-care myself. Cancer rules self-care, self-nurturing, self-development. So what else does it rule? It says it's related with your home, right? So today I actually cleaned up my house. I actually cleaned up the house yesterday. Because if you notice, June 1st, the moon was in Cancer. June 2nd, the moon will be in Cancer. Then June 3rd, and then it switches in the middle of the day. See, and it tells you the time that the energy switches. So you kind of see it moving into it's in different energy, right? So what else is Cancer? So the Cancer rules the home. I cleaned my house today, then yesterday. It rules the family. I've actually spoken to different members of my family. Actually, interesting enough, I've actually did a business transaction with a family member in my life. So I'm going to show you how that played out and why that happened, right? It's related to cooking and gardening. I actually cooked yesterday. I just wanted to cook. When I went with it, it's prone to emotional fluctuation. I've had other people come with me with different emotional. I wasn't necessarily emotional, but I had to be in control of my emotions in order not to activate anyone else's. And you should, it tells you like advice is like learning how to forgive and forget. Yeah, because Cancers, we hold grudges, messes up your whole gut system and avoids depression of overthinking, right? So it just gives you an idea of what Cancer is. It rules the stomach. So let's say today the moon is in Cancer and your stomach hurts, Aquarius rising or Sag, or this could even be certain people that have moon in Cancer. You know, this could be your womb, Aries, this or Sag. Again, this could be your womb, your vagina. You know. 12th house Leo, maybe you sleep in more because you're a Leo. Cancer rules your 12th house. You want to sleep in, you want to be in bed, you want to be at home. You might be a little bit more reserved with your emotions. You might want to keep it to yourself because there's a Leo rising. Cancer's your 12th house. You might be retreating into yourself, right? So it rules the lymph nodes, your breastbone, you know. It also gives you an advice if you want to get a waxing moon. So let's go back to my chart though. So, like I said, the first house is the self. So things to learn about the first house, right? The first house, it activates contracts because people choose you. Maybe somebody calls you on your first house and say, hey, I want to do a business with you. Or maybe you get a ticket. You park, if you were wondering, damn, should I leave my car out late today? Maybe I won't get a ticket. You probably have a possibility of getting one because the first house is the self. The universe is choosing you. Outside external energy, when you trigger their subconscious, so if they remind you of you. Okay, so you might be the it factor because the moon is highlighting its energy onto your first house. So this could happen anyway. So for instance, today I had a business contract, literally with a family member. It was around 4 p.m. actually. I asked my stepsister if she can cook for me Monday through Sunday because I had worked a lot of hours, so I would pay her. So it was actually around like 4 p.m., 4:01, like around that time, New York time, right? So if you notice, let's go pull it up, right? We pull up the time just so these are for learning purposes. So if you notice, what are things you want to start learning your degrees? So if you notice at that time, the moon is at 18 degrees. 18 degrees is a Virgo degree. It rules work. It rules mercurial things, jobs. So I gave a job to a member in my family. Moon is in Cancer, right? 18 degrees is work. I gave it to someone. Now, what else can have shown that? If you notice at the ascendant hour, the ascendant hour was in Libra, 21 degrees. Actually, which is Sagittarius. My stepsister is a Sagittarius. So around that time, right, the hour of the day, which is the first house, I told her if that's contract, I send her money. Proof is in the pudding. Hey, can you make this food for me, right? So if you notice, it's at Jupiter. So look at that, the ascendant hours at Jupiter. The second house rules food and money and transaction. Remember that part of fortune that we spoke about? So that fortune, I gave her an opportunity. The second house rules somewhat your family, is your vulnerability. So I gave her assets. I gave her money, right, into my food that could make me potentially be vulnerable. Like she can cook the wrong thing, mess up my stomach. This is about, and it's a decision that I made for my body because I want to eat house food more, but I'm never home, right? So then we notice, if you notice that, you see that big red line is going to my Uranus and Neptune, right? Uranus and Neptune is enterprises, businesses. Neptune is a dream. At the moment I had a dream like, hey, I'm gonna be recording videos all the time and I'm gonna be constantly reading people all the time like I already am. I need someone to help me. I need to make my enterprise bigger, stronger. I'm talking shit. Anyways, if you notice, right, the sun is in the 9 degrees with Mercury 26 degrees, which is actually a Taurus degree, which is also Mercury rules work. So I want you to start seeing, you'll be able to see this more the more you keep noticing oh my God, astrology becomes real. So then if you notice, even Lilith is at 5 degrees, which is making almost a 1 degree difference to Jupiter, which is at 4 degrees. Again, she's a Sagittarius. It's at home, right? I'm taking the initiative because I'm trying to plan better management of my time. That's the 7th house. You see that descendant line? That's the 7th house of business. I'm trying to think long-term business, right? So the other thing that I want you to notice is look at the big fat red lines, right? So I have a Venus at 6 degrees. So Venus is in Taurus 6 degrees, which is another Virgo degree. I gave a woman in my family, Taurus rules family, Venus rules women, 6 degrees is Virgo, a job. It costs me money, is in the 8th house, is an expense that I have to make. I hope that makes sense, y'all. And if you notice, it's making an exact opposition to my Mercury and Mars. Again, this is me trying to execute bigger, better, stronger, right? Mars is part of that entrepreneurship. Mercury is me thinking ahead, right? My mind, giving people other jobs. If that makes sense, I hope that makes sense to you. That's just an event that I could tell you for the first house. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to keep these videos short. This is for the first house series. If you have any more questions, we could talk about it. I don't have any placements in my first house, but keep in mind, if you do have any places in your first house, the moon is a luminary. It will highlight, it will turn these planets on, be an observation. What happened when the moon went over that planet? So like, for instance, at that right now, I don't have any planets in my first house, but it opposed Uranus and Neptune. As you can see, I hired someone in my family. The 4th house is home. Okay, so I'm going to let you in there. Keep it short, folks. Thank you. I'll see you soon.